Welcome again, my friends, and at this time, after getting the conversations and also making the change in the backend, now it is time to list them right here in the sidebar. Don't worry, this is, looking not so responsive, but we're gonna make everything responsive, don't worry. And the reason for that, I want to do that alone so I can explain to you how to make responsive stuff. So that's why I didn't just include it together. So now it is time to show them. So as we already have them, so what we have to do now, let me go back to the home. So we already have the conversations right here in the state. Okay, so now it is time. So I'm just gonna actually remove this from here. I'm not gonna need it here. And what we have to do now is go back and create another component. So in the components right here. So this is like included in the sidebar. So that's why we're gonna add this right here. And it seems like a good idea. So we're gonna go conversations like this. And then we're gonna create a file that is called conversations.jsx and then RFC. So let me zoom in a little bit like that. So let me close that, and inside of this I'm gonna create an index. So index.js, and then we're gonna import the conversations, and then I will export that. So export conversations. Okay, sorry, we're gonna export that partially. So okay, not default. So now that we've done that, I gotta go back to my home page here. So this is the sidebar. Let me open it. So after the search here, we can go and add conversations. So conversations like that. And then right here, we're gonna call the conversations component like this. And then now I go back to conversations. So here we're gonna list all the conversations that I have. So the first thing that, I would actually see or say is, let me get the conversations. So calls conversations, and we're gonna go use the use selector, and then we're gonna go to the state, then state.chat, because it exists inside the chats in the state. And right here, let me remove that. And the first thing I want to do is I'm gonna add a class name for this div right here, which is convos, which is for conversations, and also I'm gonna add scroll bar. So the convos is just going to be like a custom class name that you create, and scroll bar is just going to be simply changing the scroll bar. So if you're having like many, like let's say in the left side, many conversations, I can like, scroll using that nice scroll bar. So that's like what you're going to do there. And then simply inside of here, we're going to check if the conversations are there. So sorry, was it like typed like this? Let me see. I do not remember. So let me go chat slice. Actually, no, just everything is lowercase. Okay, that's fine. So now that we check if we have conversations like that, or you just check for the length, so that one of them. So we check if we have conversations, then simply we're gonna go to conversations, and then we're gonna map through them, because we have in an array, so we have to map through them and get every single conversation and also the index here. And then inside of here, what I will do, so after mapping through all the conversations, we have to show them right here. So it is time, I feel like, to create a conversation component. Okay, and this conversation, we're gonna send a few things to it. Let's actually just send the conversation for now. So let's call it convo, and then we have to add the key. It is very important when you map through anything. You can make it the index right here, or you can just make it the convo._id. Both of them are fine. So if not using the index here, you have to go here and use, for example, the convo._id. You have to use an information that is unique to that component only, and it should not be something that's repeatable. And let me go now and create this conversation here. So I'm going to create it here. So conversation.jsx, and then RFC here like that. Let me remove that. And then also what I need to do right now is go back to the index and also import conversation. And then I have to export that. All right, so we have done that. And this is the conversations. We add in the conversation. Let me now import that. All right, so it is here. And now let's see what we need. So it's not necessary to add it in the index, to be honest here, but let's just add it. Because even if we import it outside of the conversation, then yeah, it would have made sense. But it's totally fine. There is no problem doing it this way or either way. So now what we have to do is, let me show you what we need to do. So if I go back right now here, so you see we only get the text conversation because we have 3 conversations. As we map into right here, we're gonna get 3 components of conversation which only return conversation right here. And as we're gonna get the convo from here, and I can actually go here and do something like this. So I can go convo ._id and I will see that. Okay, or I can show the last message by going to the convo, then latest message property there, which goes to the message, and we can get the message. And then we can actually see that. All right, hello random user again, and hello. Okay, so you can see even the messages. So now we have to show them. First of all, I want to go and work on the styling for the right here for convo and scroll bar. So what I need to do, let me just go back to the index, and let me go here, and we can work on the convos here. So this convos right here is going to have a height. So you're going to use a calculate function, and which is going to be 100 viewport height, which is the height of the screen, then minus 220 pixels. And then it's going to all make sense. And then in the overflow X, so it's going to be hidden. And then actually we're not going to make, not overflow. I was going to go to the overflow and make it hidden, but let's not do that, because we're going to need that later. Let me just go to the overflow Y and then make it auto, so we can have the scroll bar. So if there is not enough like height to show all the elements, I will just make it overflow auto, and then I'm going to be able to scroll there. So simply that's all there is to it. Okay, so let me zoom out. So you can see right now I don't get that option because everything here is right. But let's say, for example, let's just do something stupid just to show you. If I went to my conversation right here, and let me add a class name, and let's say I went to every single one of them, and I give it a height of maybe, and let's say 800 pixels, something stupid. And if I went back now, you'd see that I have this scroll bar. So the height is never going to be more than the height that I have here, which is like 100 viewports height, then minus the 220 pixels, and gives us this 220, just simply between this and this, so we can keep it always in the screen. So now that I can scroll here, I don't want this ugly scroll bar. This is such an ugly scroll bar, and we gotta create something that is similar to what we have in WhatsApp itself. So I'm gonna go, this is for animations, I can go and I can say custom scroll bar, because this is gonna be like used for all the scroll bars. So to actually change the properties of a scroll bar, you can go, we're gonna do it by a class name that is called scroll bar. Okay, that is the first thing. So this div that is gonna have this scroll bar class name right here, we're gonna go to the WebKit, okay, WebKit, then scroll bar. Okay, so we can access this scroll bar here, and then we're gonna make the width 5 pixels. That is the first thing, and that's actually to change the width. So I can go down here and I can say something like width, okay, and then after that I can go under here, and the second thing that I will change, let's call this it's gonna be the track. Okay, the track is simply, let me go back and show you the track. I cannot see that right now because, let me remove this just for now, just to show you. So the track is, this is white space right here. So this white right here, it is the track. And the thumb is simply this one that we use to, you know, drag. Okay, just remember those names. So let me go to the track right now. And for the track right here, we're going to do that. We're going to go to scroll bar, then WebKit, and then we're going to go scroll bar track. And then what we're going to do to that, I'm just going to go to the background and make it transparent. We're not going to show it. Okay, so everyone want to do it their own way, that's fine, but I want to make it as WhatsApp is. And then the last thing, it would be to change the thumb. And for the thumb, we're just going to go WebKit scroll bar and then thumb. Okay, hope you understand all of this. And this simply, we're going to go to the background and we're going to make it 4 and then 4 and the E54. Okay, that's it. And let me go back and you can see this is what we have. So this is exactly what I wanted to add. And the thumb, you can make it like some sort of border radius, but I didn't, you know, notice something like that in the WhatsApp. So that's why I'm keeping it as simple as we have right here. Let me just make sure that the background is right. So it is 4 and then E and then 5 and then 4. Okay, so we have done that. Now it is time. Let me close the index. And now as let me remove this class name here. We're not gonna need that. We're not gonna need that right now. We need to actually work on the conversation itself and see and, you know, show them right way. So all we can return, because if you go back to the conversations, this was, let me make it like an unordered list. All right, that would make a lot of sense. Or maybe I can let it like that, and then here have it as an unordered list. All right, or maybe actually, yeah, let's leave it like that, because this is like some sort of like a container, you'd say. And if it affected our silent, we would change that, don't worry. So inside the UL, this is gonna be inside the unordered list, we have the list item. So as you see, this is an unordered list. Inside of it is the conversation, which is simply gonna be a list item. And this list item is gonna, you know, remove the dots, because if I go back right now and we would see, you know, okay, we actually don't have them by default, but if we did, we're just gonna go list and then this none. Okay, just as a something as a backup. If it doesn't apply, we would remove that. So list style type none, we're not gonna add that. And then simply we're gonna go to the height, and for the height I'm gonna make it 72 pixels. And then the width, so the width right here, we're just not gonna make it anything. It's just gonna make it fall, and it's gonna fall into the the width of the sidebar. So for example, if I went BG red, for example, BG red and then 500, so you'd see it is here. It's not gonna go over the sidebar, and that is cool. So we don't need to add any width to it without like a strict value. And then we're gonna go dark mode. The BG is gonna be dark BG1, okay. And then when we hover on it, so we're gonna go dark, and then BG is gonna be dark BG2. All right, so let me just show you. So this is it. If I hover, this is how it's gonna be. And I need to continue, so I'm just gonna have the cursor to be pointer, and then also in dark mode the text is gonna be dark text 1, and then the padding from the x-axis is gonna be something like 10 pixels. All right, so that is the first thing. And then we're gonna have a container inside of here. As usual, I like to always add a container, something very important. So container, and then inside of here we'll have a div with the relative class name, and then we're gonna also have widthful, and then flex, and then item center, and then also justify between. So there is a left side and the right side, and then we're gonna have the padding from the y-axis to be 10 pixels. And then as I told you, it's gonna be separated to the left and the right. So this is gonna be the left side, which is gonna have the picture, the name of the, you know, the conversation, also the message. But the right side is gonna have like the dates, for example. So this is the left side. We can just have it flex, and then also item center, and then we'll have gap, and then x3. And then inside of here, we're just gonna have, this is gonna be the conversation user picture. All right, so this is for the picture. What we need to do, this is gonna be relative, and then also it's gonna have a minimum width of 50 pixels, and then the height also gonna be 50 pixels. You guess it's gonna be rounded, full, and it's simply overflow hidden, so we're not gonna show anything that's overflow. Okay, and then inside you're gonna have the image. The source is gonna be the convo.picture, and the alternative would be, let's just leave it empty. I really don't care for this one. Or maybe so maybe I can just go use the convo. So like we need the name of the user, which is gonna be just the convo name. Maybe that's where we do, and then the class name. As this is gonna be acting like the container of that image, we can just make the width full, and it's gonna take the full width of the parent, and then also for the height the same. We don't need to make it rounded. The reason for that is because we have overflow hidden, because the parent is rounded. So even if this is, let me just show you. So let me add just object fit cover, and let me just show you something. If I remove this overflow hidden here, you would see something like this. It's gonna still look, you know, square, whatever the original of that image is. So when I add the overflow hidden, let's say this is the div, the container, the image was overflowing it. So when I remove if we add the overflow hidden, it's just simply not gonna overflow anymore. So let me zoom out now, and this image is not right. So what is going on? So the minimum height, because when I added the width 50 like this, it didn't really register with it. So it was creating a lot of problems, even though that is now here is right. So maybe I can add the minimum and also add the maximum width is 50 pixels, which is kind of a weird thing to do, but it is better than just, you know, making it with 50, but some padding affect it and it's not anymore 50. So this is like the best solution I could come up with here for now. If you have a better solution, you could just tell me. So right here, we're just gonna have the conversation name, and like we're gonna have the name, and that's what we're gonna have the message. So let's say a message. All right, so for this one, it's just gonna have the width to be 4, and then also gonna have flex, and then also this is gonna be 1 under 1, so flex column. And so right here, the first thing that we will have is gonna be the name. So conversation name. I know this is a lot of comments just to make it easier for you. So each one, it's gonna have the font to be bold. Sorry. So right here, the class name is gonna be font bold. And then also we need to have something as flex, and then items center, and then the gap to be x2. I don't know why we added that, but we'll figure out later. So this is gonna be the convo.name. So now if I went back here, this is what I'm gonna have, the conversation name that I started, and they are the same in the database conversations here. And let me zoom out. All right, so let me zoom out here. So those are the conversations and the conversations names here. So these are the 3 conversations we have. So that is cool. I'm just trying to keep it related to the data we have so you can understand what is going on better. So after this h1 right here, which is the first thing, here we're just gonna have the message itself. So here I'm just gonna go. There are a few other things that we'll add later, but for now I'm just gonna go easy. So, okay, so you get used to this. So the conversation message is just simply gonna be a div. Let's just add this here, and then inside of it we're gonna have another div that is called flex, and then item center, and then also we will have the gap x1, and then in the dark mode the text is gonna be dark text 2. All right, and inside of this another div with flex, and then here we're just gonna have, actually this is gonna be flex 1, so it takes all the available space for it, and then this is gonna be item center, and then also this is gap x, and then 1, and then also in the dark the text is gonna be so dark text 2, and then here we're just gonna have the paragraph that's gonna have the convo.latest message. So convo.latest message property, simply if you go back here, this is the latest message, which is simply goes to which is just a reference to a message, and if you go back to messages you can access the property message here. So yeah, so dot message. All right, let's add optional chain in here, and maybe also we should have added this for every single one of them, but we already check if you have conversations, so that is fine. So if I went now, you could say, or you could see right here, we have the conversation name, then the message here. Don't worry about seeing an extra stuff. Those are something that's not for now, but you can see that we have the conversations here, and I can also hover, and this is actually very, very similar to WhatsApp. This is actually crazy good, and I'm not even done with it because I will come back. I will try to make it more. So I may have another section just simply trying to make it more resemblance. Okay, so yeah. So this is the conversation here. We actually don't need to add anything to that. So after adding, you know, the message and everything, there is a part that we need to add. So this is the left side. So let me close that. Now we come to the right side.